Hello, my name is Levi Moore and welcome to Community Pulse. Today, our guest is Carol Sharp, the CEO and President of the Night Ministry. Carol, welcome to Community Pulse.
Thank you, Levi.
Okay, got a little housekeeping to do. Okay, Community Pulse is a public affairs show on KNTV about public health and wellness in the city of Chicago. There's this relationship stuff I have to get out of the way. Okay. Community Pulse is sponsored by the Hectone Institute of Medicine, an 80-year-old not-for-profit in Chicago that's been dedicated to public health for Chicagoans for now going on almost 9 decades. Hectone also sponsors the Foxglove Alliance, which is a coalition of 16 public health care organizations in Chicago. And I'm the coordinator of the Foxglove Alliance. I do this show in partnership with Hectone's Nurses and Humanities Program and the Healthcare Council of Chicago. And so I am one of the 3 rotating hosts. So with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, before we get into the night ministry, and also, we're colleagues. We're both members of the board of the Illinois Association of Free and Charitable Clinics, and we're doing this show in August, and August is Free Clinics Month in the state of Illinois. So we're squeezing this in at the end because, well, KNTV was a little bit busy with a convention a few days ago that took up a lot of time, and KNTV did a great job with it. But with that out of the way, let's find out who Carol Sharp is.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Levi, again, and thank you for the invitation to join your show. My name is Carol Sharp. I am the president and CEO of the Night Ministry, and I have been with the Night Ministry now for a little over a year. While I recently joined the organization, I've been a nonprofit for nearly 20 years. Okay. Most of that work has been in support of young people who are first in their family to go to college. I am first in my family to go to college. I was born and raised in Chicago, and I navigated a non-traditional journey.
You know how Chicago is, what neighborhood?
Inglewood.
Okay.
Inglewood. But while Inglewood was really a key part of my my upbringing, I navigated a non-traditional journey from a foster home in the Inglewood neighborhood to my biological mom who lived in Rogers Park.
Oh, wow.
So, I spent a great deal of time observing the differences in neighborhoods across the city, just traveling between both homes. And I'm really proud that I can bring a lot of that character building experience, lived experience, along with the education and what I know to be true about the difficulties of young people who are attempting to achieve beyond what they see. Mm-hmm. And so whether that be their college completion or any post-secondary or even high school diploma that they're looking to earn, in order for a young person to thrive in the classroom, they need to have a stable home. And so it really is what brought me to the Night Ministry, that I'm able to bring all of that experience and what I know to be true about our young people's ability to succeed and to continue the mission, a legacy at an organization that's been around for nearly 50 years.
Yeah, thanks. Wow. The Night Ministry is well known, but maybe just for people who may not know the history of and just everything the Night Ministry does, because as we were talking, chatting before we started, a lot of people think of the Night Ministry as just homeless services and actually don't think of you as also a free and charitable health clinic too. So, history, structure, scope of services.
Absolutely. So the mission of the Night Ministry is to provide human connection, housing, and healthcare to individuals who are living in unstable housing environments. And so what that means is we really take a two-pillar approach to our work. One that's centered on housing and our youth programs, and the other that's centered on healthcare. And so given our healthcare operations, we do act as a free and charitable clinic. We have 2 mobile health units led by our nurse practitioners and our psychiatric nurse practitioners that are out in various neighborhoods across the city every day. And they are delivering medical services, providing basic wound care, providing basic health assessments to individuals who are living unsheltered. They are also providing them with some long-term care for those who might need access to mental health treatments and things like that. And so we are bringing the services to those who need it most in the communities that they currently reside, and particularly to those who are living unsheltered. If they come to our mobile health unit, they're also getting access to a meal. So we are providing them with a meal, as well as case management services.
How do you do that, since are you connected to different hospitals or?
Yeah, so we have partnerships with hospitals across the city. We have volunteer physicians that will join us on our buses, as well as our street medicine van. So I talked a little bit about the mobile health unit, but we also have a street medicine program that is providing harm reduction supplies to individuals who are navigating substance use challenges. And then we have a program that exists similarly at the CTA station, where we are bringing that mobile health care to the Forest Park and the Howard Red Line stations.
So on with the street program, do you sort of like designate that we will be here on this date, this month, or?
That's correct. And our schedule is available on our website. We are in the Garfield Park neighborhood. I mentioned we're at the Forest Park Blue Line stop, as well as the Red Line stop on Howard. And then there are various neighborhoods, including Pilsen, right? We try to go to all parts of the city, as well as to encampments, to ensure that we're able to reach our neighbors. And there are many individuals who we've encountered who have been coming and utilizing our mobile health unit for more than 40 years. I mentioned earlier that our organization has been around for nearly 50 years. It was founded in 1976, and at the time was led by Reverend Tom Behrens, who really found an opportunity to support young people, but beginning with a conversation over a cup of coffee and perhaps a donut. And from there, after learning their journey, learning their personal stories and how they came to be in this unstable living environment, he was then empowered to find additional resources. And from that came our first bus. And then from there, we've grown. Really, the foundation of our work began with those outreach services. And over the years, we built upon that, providing the CTA programs, our street medicine program, as well as our residential programs, where we are providing services to women who are pregnant or parenting young children through our Parenting with Purpose program in the Westtown neighborhood, as well as our interim housing program for young people. And then we also have a scattered site program. So we are supporting young people with being placed in apartments. We are matching them with roommates who are also navigating housing instability. And we're providing them with life skill development resources that go beyond paying rent and getting them a job. But how do you communicate effectively with individuals in your family or in your network so that you have long-term stability in that housing situation?
Yeah, I was out of curiosity. This is a real life situation. For those of us that live near viaducts, it's a place where homeless people will move to, because it does keep them out of the elements to a certain extent. If just a viewer sees someone who looks like they may be in need. And personally, I did this myself. One time I saw a young man who truly did not look like he was anywhere near being old enough to shave. Had been in this one spot for like 3-4 days. And the weather was starting to get cold. So what should someone do if they see a situation like that?
Yeah, so we have a 24-hour, an overnight shelter, and so they are advised to come to our emergency shelter so that they can get some short-term support. But then we do operate through referrals through our continuum of care network, and once they connect with us, we can help them get connected in that way as well. But I mean, advising them to utilize the resources available, like the night ministry, could be really supportive to them finding long-term housing solutions.
Okay. We talked a bit about healthcare. Now, I'm trying to think, the people that you serve, because, well, homelessness doesn't care about race or immigration status.
Yeah.
So, profiles on who you tend to serve. And actually, out of curiosity, because there's this, kind of controversial push-pull between the immigrants who have come here recently and the displacement of people who are getting services before people who've been homeless here for quite a while.
Yeah.
Or even the displacement out of temporary facilities. So it's like, how are you navigating all that?
Yeah, so to answer your original question regarding who we serve, so in our youth housing residential programs, we are serving 17 to 24-year-olds.
Okay.
For the most part. We do provide aftercare services. So for those who might have aged out of our programs, we are checking in on them. We're providing them with occupational therapy resources and things like that. And so that's on our youth programs side. But on our outreach and health services, we service anyone who comes to our bus or who comes to our stops at the CTA station. We're out in encampments, and we are not asking their citizenship status, right? We are providing the resources to those who need it. And then we are accommodating, certainly in instances where we need to think about how we communicate in different languages, prepare material in different languages with the right dialect, and we are adjusting our services to meet that need. When we had the experience in our city of the new arrivals last fall, the night ministry worked with local police stations to bring our mobile health unit so that we can provide additional support in that vein as well. But it didn't disrupt the services that we were providing generally across all of the neighborhoods, as well as the encampments that we continue to serve.
Okay, thank you. And well, you've been on the job for a year. What were some of the surprises? What have you instituted? And then where would you like the night ministry to be 3 to 5 years from now?
Oh, what a great question, and some of which we are still answering, right? Because as you know, new CEOs coming into organization, there's a number of things for us to unpack. Or organizations, when they experience an executive leadership transition, we want to ensure that our staff feels like they're still prioritized and valued in the work that they do, right? It creates just a space of ambiguity in different ways. And so my original approach is to ensure that our team knows that we value the services that they are providing. We are all in this together. And so we take care of our people who are taking care of our people. We spent a lot of time taking a look at the trauma that our team was experiencing, having, working with individuals or neighbors who were passing away. We're still healing from the quarantine, where organizations like the Night Ministry were called to do more work.
You were like
right?
on L trains, right?
Absolutely. And that's where the CTA program came from, right? We realized that there were individuals who were using the CTA as shelter. And so we started riding the trains to see what services we could provide, case management services to get folks access to accelerated moving events, or to get them a social security card, ID card. And then from there, we developed a more formal partnership with the CTA so that we were able to expand our work, expand our services. And so in the first year, we really focused on our internal infrastructure, as well as increasing our quality and reach. The Night Ministry is known for being nimble across the city, and so we are always best practice partners with the city agencies, with the state agencies, and we want to ensure that we maintain and grow those efforts, because we know that in many cases we are sought as subject matter experts, given the work that we've been doing for many years. And then the other thing that we've been centering our work on is really increasing our client voice. So making sure that as we build out our 3 to 5 year outlook in the next few months, that it is really centered around what is it that our neighbors believe that they need, what are the ways in which they would like to receive our services, and how we can do a better job of ensuring that long-term, that aftercare, right, stability for our neighbors. And so, we've certainly had opportunities that have come up. In my first year, one is around our Pathways program, which was originally designed to be a congregate model program for young people in the North Lawndale neighborhood. In the next month, we will have reached the end of a 6 to 8 month long process where we've reimagined the program to be scattered site, because we know the effective outcomes of scattered site model, and that placing people in apartments really yields a longer term stability or plan for them, and that's what we want to support.
Yeah, just thinking about just some of the shifts in homelessness. Not that long ago, maybe like a decade ago, it was interesting. One of the largest groups of homeless people in Chicago were Vietnam veterans. They had fallen through a crack and never got through. And then, a little bit later on, one of the fastest growing groups were female veterans who had been discharged from Afghanistan and Iraq. And now there's the immigrants and just people who just never, something happened. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the homeless situation in the city of Chicago. If you were the czar, what changes would you want to institute?
Yeah, one of the things, and this will go back to your original question, previous question as well. One of the things that I was really surprised to learn, really stepping intentionally into this space, is the amount of interest in partnership. And so, when I think about the state of homelessness in Chicago, and I think about the opportunity that we have, we know that there's power in collaboration. There's power in dismantling systems by coming together, bringing our collective efforts to ensure that we are maximizing our strengths to deliver services and not recreate the wheel, right? We want to ensure that those who do the work well we are able to learn from them. And then for those who see opportunities, they then have access as well. So I would love to see us to continue to build a network that allows our individuals who are living in unstable housing situations to gain access sooner. I mean, we know that housing first is most successful, and so we want more opportunities for individuals to move into apartments or into homes. I think that the preventative work is also very important. We can identify spaces where we educate those who are precariously housed, who might be living doubled up or struggling, with different family dynamics, found themselves in unfortunate situations financially. There are some ways that we could wrap around resources to be more preventative in the work that we're doing, and would love to see us lean into that more as well.
Well, I know, because sometimes I've actually heard people argue about just the number of homeless people in Chicago, and in some instances they count people that are, for lack of a more technical term, couch surfing. Sometimes, at times they're included, I think, when you want to make it look not as bad as it is, and then sometimes it's not included. But it sounds like at least one good thing is that the various people involved are actually starting to talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I just know in some areas, when we started to have the immigrant issue really arise, it was sort of like, okay, this isn't just an immigration issue, this also is an affordable housing issue. This is also a housing affordability issue.
Exactly.
And it was sort of like, I remember just saying, okay, did these people ever think to just get in a room And because it's all starting to be connected. Okay, I'm going to elevate you to a really high job. I won't say you're going to be president, but maybe something close. Okay. What changes would you like to see in terms of two things? First, America's approach to homelessness, and then two, since this is still Free and Charitable Clinics Month in Illinois, safety net, healthcare. So homelessness first.
Yeah. And so, when I think about homelessness and some of the experiences, particularly that I had in the last few years, I have seen there have been an increase in talks around tiny homes. We talk about access to homes in general, right? The affordability, but we need more spaces. Like we need more communities, and we need more levels of options financially that allow people to gain access to those homes. We need education. People need to understand, what the pathway to housing stability looks like. And so I'd like to see us increase education, particularly around some of these, some of the myths that arise in homelessness. And the Night Ministry, we publish a Good Neighbor Guide that focuses on that helps people to navigate some of the general myths that exist around homelessness. And so, I think it would be helpful to have, number one, more homes. Right, and I know that is a priority for our state.
I've never figured out why. Okay, it seems like the tiny homes concept works in a lot of places, and at least no one. It seems like we're afraid to even try. Or there's some sort of snag or something.
Well, we know that cities are different, right? And so what might be working in California, in a city in California, might not necessarily work in Chicago. There are lots of considerations that we have to be thinking about. Even, though all of the external factors that impact our ability to be able to devise a plan that might mirror that of another larger city or similar city, will still look very different, right? And so we have to be mindful of those things. But I know that it is a conversation that we are having in Illinois, at the very least, around ways in which we might utilize tiny home villages, even just as an option to build more spaces, more opportunities for individuals to have access to living in their own home, to have a house. And I attended a conference earlier this year that focused on that. So we're beginning to have the conversation. Okay. We have to figure some things out, and like you mentioned, we all have to come together. We have to get at the table and talk about what are the implications of us, of this approach. But ultimately, how can we make it work? Because we won't know unless we try.
Yeah, and safety net, because one of the things that we were talking about before you came onto the IFCC board is, all the clinics had a role, expanded roles during the pandemic. And a big savior was being able to add more people to Medicaid. And we were all like girded, like, okay, what's going to happen when this ends and the redeterminations start? And so, have you seen a jump? Because I believe that a lot of that federal funding just ended. Like I said, there's still this transition out. I know that we've been trying to follow how the rate of people getting the redetermination status. So that's the beauty of it. All the clinics are a little bit different. Yours is a little bit different. Just the population that you live. Have you seen a growth? Is it the same?
Yeah, I won't say that. I think so. We've seen a growth in the sense that we've seen a growth in homelessness generally, right, across the city in the last 5 years. It continues to grow. There are over 68,000 people. And so with that comes some of the other challenges around getting access to health care. But we know that free and charitable clinics are doing work to really reduce the cost of hospitals and healthcare institutions. Just at the Night Ministry last year, we saved emergency rooms $1.7 million, right, through our efforts. And so, going back to the ideas of safety nets, going back to opportunity opportunities where we might be able to do more, really investing in the organizations who have found creative ways to bring healthcare to those who might not have access, given just how our system is set up. And then continue to have the conversation with the right people at the table to really figure out how we reverse this systemic challenge that ultimately impacts us all.
Great. We're nearing it. So, Carol, are there any final thoughts, anything that we haven't covered?
You know, I want to thank you again for inviting me to join the show. I have had a phenomenal experience partnering with individuals in this space, and I look forward to continued partnerships. The Night Ministry, our website's thenightministry.org, and would welcome individuals to learn more about the work that we are doing.
And then you said you had a hotline, 24-hour hotline number?
We have a clinic.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not a clinic, a shelter in the Bucktown neighborhood.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Carol, thank you for appearing on Community Pulse. Once again, my name is Levi Moore, and we do this show in partnership. The Foxglove Alliance does this show in partnership with the Healthcare Council of Chicago and Hectones Nurses in the Humanities Program. You'll probably see my other co-host, one of my other co-hosts, Megan Phillip, who filmed the show probably, I think, earlier today. And you can see this show on CAN-TV, but then it'll also be available on YouTube. So it'll be on available through the Foxglove website, which is foxglovealliance.org, the Healthcare Council of Chicago website, and through CAN-TV. So we're running out of days in August. CPS has started school already, and I know we've with Community Pulse, we pretty much have the balance of our year's programming set. So once again, I'd really like to thank the staff, Rocio and Amani, the crew, our crew at Community Pulse, and thank you.